morning, everyone, and hello, Arkansas educators. Let's get started. My name's Amy Shamel. I'm your professional development consultant today. We've got about 22 on right now. So we've got about 22 participants. We have a few more that should be joining us. So, while everybody's logging in, because I know I started right at 10:30, I'll go through just a few, items, right? How we're going to be, what the flow of the next couple of hours is going to be, just to make sure you're at the right training. This is Getting Good Data with iReady, okay? This is beginning, right? This is right at the beginning, giving the diagnostic, look at some reports, and then a wrap up, all right? So let's do a quick sound check. Right now, let me go here, unmute all right? So now everybody is in listen only mode, but I unmuted everyone. If anybody, ever wants to unmute and speak, right? Share something with the group. If you do not have a microphone, so you have to have a microphone in order to do that, then you can type in the question box. And so we'll talk about that in just a second. So I just want to check my participants right now. I'm seeing a couple that I don't see speakers on their end. So I'm seeing Barbara, Brooke. Okay, Jamie, you unmuted, good job. Let's see here, that's about it. So Barbara, and Brittany, and Brooke. So as long as you're sitting with somebody else and can hear, that's great. But if you're by yourself, I just want to figure out if you have speakers, you can hear me, kind of what's going on. And then Ms. Buchanan, the same. Okay. Let me try to contact them on the question box. 1 second. So, is anybody sitting with Barbara Edmondson, Brooke Snyder, Miss Buchanan? Is anybody sitting with them? And then, which allows them to hear, but maybe just watching the presentation on their laptop. All right. So we'll check in just a minute. All right. So let's get rolling. This is GoToWebinar. This is the training, and this is how we're going to facilitate this today on GoToWebinar. So, unique year, right? We've never started a year like this before. And so you've probably been exposed to other virtual trainings, Zoom, GoToMeeting, GoToWebinar, maybe Google Meet, something like that. So this is how this is how GoToWebinar behaves. So you're going to see my presentation in the middle, okay? And then you should have a control panel here. Up at the top. If you don't see your control panel, make sure you click View Control Panel. You can click up at the top, unmute, which I noticed a couple of you already did that. Shelly unmuted, and then I saw somebody else, I think Jamie unmuted, so they already practiced that. Muted, good. Caston, last name Caston, you unmuted, very good. And so that's where you can do that, right? And share out. Easy to do. Sometimes, some parts of the training, I'm going to have you raise your hand, okay? So this is the raise hand feature on GoToWebinar. Okay, so down here is the question box. All right, so in the question box, so like I said before, my name's Amy Shamel. I live in Missouri, but right on the Arkansas border. So I live near Piggott, Arkansas, and I've supported Arkansas, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi for many years. I've been curriculum associates about 6 years, and was an educator before that at the school level, at the district level, and then came over to curriculum associates after that. So that's about me. I've been to a lot of your towns in Arkansas to work with teachers, and so I would love to know where you are. So this is your opportunity to use one of our tools, the question box. So open the question box, and what I would like you to type is, what grade level do you teach, and where are you joining us from? Okay, so take a second to do that, and then I'm going to share out all our participants. Okay, here we go. Awesome. Thank you. It takes slightly just a second sometimes for the question box to show up, so bear with me. Let's see, I'm making it a little too large here. Let me kind of make it a little smaller on my end. All right, Janie, kindergarten Lonoke. I've had a lot of Lonoke today. Kindergarten Lonoke. Ooh, Emmeline. Oh, that's pretty. Second grade Lonoke. Catherine, kindergarten Cross County. Lots of Cross County this week. Stephanie, Hamburg kindergarten. Look at all these kindergarten teachers. Cindy, Drew Central Schools in Monticello. I'm the testing coordinator. I stayed in Monticello Sunday night. I worked with the school, was it Harrisburg? Nearby. So I stayed in Monticello. I've stayed at that Hampton Inn a few times. And then I've got Nathan, 8th grade, Hartman, Arkansas. So what do you teach in 8th grade, Nathan? Connie, 7 through 12 special ed, self-contained, Bay, Arkansas. Shelly, she's 4th grade math and science in Searcy. Love Searcy. I eat at that Tacos for Life all the time. Christy, I teach high school except for 8th grade DDI class in Bay High School in Arkansas. Perfect. Melissa, 3rd grade Prairie Grove. Rebecca, 1st grade Warren, Arkansas. Diane Ellis, 2nd grade Pangburn. I know I probably messed that up. Pangburn, maybe that's right. Cersei, I've got Marshall. I've got Miss Caston. Am I reading this right? Searcy County School District, Marshall Leslie, K-12 DTC, K-6 principal. Okay. I've got Brittany, 7th grade Social Studies English, as well as 9th grade English, Cross County in Cherry Valley, Arkansas. 4-6 principal. Oh, wonderful. Miss Caston, fantastic. Sandra is Bay High School, English 9, 10, and 12. Lauren, Prairie Grove, 3rd grade. Wonderful. Nathan. Oh, okay. Good night. You teach English, career development, computer science, and journalism. My goodness. You got a full plate. And then 3rd grade, Sierra, you're coming to us from Prairie Grove, Arkansas. And Kathleen, 6th, 7th, 8th grade in Hamburg. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Well, thank you all so much for sharing that out. It's always so interesting to see where everyone is joining us from. So welcome to the training. I appreciate your feedback. Fantastic. Another area, you did a great job with that tool. Okay, so another area that I want you to access is a handout. So what I've done is I've added your success guide. So this is your iReady success guide. It looks like this. It is housed right here. Okay. It is housed right here. You can click on it, download it, and save it to your computer. Okay, it's about 215 pages, so you probably don't want to print it. you will have it on hand. What my favorite part about it has a how-to guide in the back. So a lot of what I'll cover today, you're going to see some step-by-steps in the back matter, some picture support over, how do I access my rosters? How do I do this? How do I do that? Okay, so do that. And then let's look at our outcomes. Okay, so we're going to look at motivating, preparing our students, of course, to get their best data, right? We need some good, reliable, clean data, especially since we've had the longest spring break ever. We want to see what unfinished learning do they have, right? What are the skills that they're missing? We're just going to get a little familiar with some of the reports, just because I know what good teachers do. They get that data, and what do? I want to go look at that report. So I want to show you how to access those even before your next training, because you're kind of another one after your data is collected. And then the data chats, I'll briefly show you, in case there's some students that you want to do some student ownership with. These are good note catchers to scaffold that. So here's our agenda. Power of iReady, we're going to take a break in there. All right, so we're going to take a break where you can stretch. I don't know if you're joining me from home or if you're at school or if you're sitting in a classroom with some friends. So, no matter what your setting, you can take a break to get snacks, stretch, run to the restroom, check your phone, check your email, and do any of that. All right, and then we're going to wrap it up. So the norms, we've already done that, right? So I'm going to honor that time. I am going to try to finish a little bit early, so I always have time at the end for any additional questions, right? So I can't get the handout to download. Does your computer have enough memory to download it? Right? So if I click on it, so bear with me, if I click on it, it opens it up here. It's going to take a little bit, right? It's quite a bit. Here we go. But at the top, it should say download, okay? So you're saying it won't download, all right? Okay, so Kathleen said I'm on the phone for listen mode. How do I access the guide? All right, so the way that you're gonna access the guide is, just a second. I'm gonna show you in this area here. So we're gonna go here at the very end of the training. And then when I type in here in my search bar, Success Guide for Teachers, let's just kind of remember this a little bit. I'll go here at the end because it has a lot of helpful tools for us. When I hit search, come on, little guy.
This is 2 hours. Is that the one I was supposed to be watching?
Let's see what this did. It's close. All right, bear with me.
I found the document. So I'm recording it. It's on the teachers. We're not even ready for that yet. Okay. So, but you can forward that to me.
Now it's gonna go. Okay, so once I did the search there, look what's available right here. Teacher Success Guide. I can download it, preview it, copy it, or email it out, okay? So I'll show you this again. But see, so when you went here, when you clicked download right here, it didn't let you download it. That's kind of what I'm asking there, okay? So this is kind of, it's way too many pages. I'm not going to scroll through, but essentially that's what it looks like when you'll open it, okay? Okay, so let's keep rolling. We can maybe address that again at the end. So I'm gonna, like I said, I'm gonna honor that time. You've already shown me that you can be present and open because you're asking questions. We're flowing right along, and just, responding to any in additional step points, and then we're going to experience some things today that I'll have you give me some feedback on. All right. So here's your first guided question, right? Here's your very first guided question. Now, I know you can read, so I'm going to have you read, and you're really good readers. So I'm going to have you read the question on the screen. Then I want you to give me feedback on your needs. All right, so type in the question box those needs. Okay, and I'll wait for those responses. Awesome, Cindy, an awesome diagnostic assessment tool. That's right, data, right? So it gives us that data, accurate and frequent data. Thank you, Emmeline. Thank you, Shelly. Christy said, I've never used one. I need everything, right? With coming into kindergarten, I obviously didn't need to know where they are. That's right, Stephanie. And then Kathleen said, I need to know what they know, right? What they know, what they possibly don't know. Great. Brittany, numbers, evidence to know more about your students. Perfect. I need time to help me differentiate. Exactly. And more information. Thank you, Jamie. Right? Resources, right? A lot of time it's like, great, I know where they are. I see where their strengths and weaknesses are, but I need the resources, right? There you go, Kathleen. Resources to know how to push them, right? So I may, if my students are below level, how can I access some materials to make them, scaffold the prerequisite to help them access grade level content. All right, thank you so much. Perfect. That's so common of what we hear all the time, right? These are exactly what you just said: time, needs, and resources. Okay, so hopefully what I'm going to show you today in iReady will help solve those issues. Okay, help solve those issues. Maybe not every single one, but help solve those issues. Okay, so you're looking here at a picture of a teacher doing some of that differentiation, right? So she's meeting with some students in the back of the room during their differentiated time. We've got some independent work going on. We've got some partner work going on. And all of that is possible when we have some insight into the students' learning across those K-12 skills, right? So pinpointing their strengths and areas of needs is key. Setting goals for each student to get on the path to proficiency or advanced proficiency. iReady can help do that, and also provide resources for whole class and for small group instruction, okay? All of that is wrapped into one site called iReady Connect. All right, so this is how we're going to log in today on the second half of our training. Students are going to access their diagnostic in this way. They open it up, click the green button, and they're ready to go. Once they're finished, your dashboard will look like this, and you're ready to look at reports. Okay, so adaptive diagnostics, right? So you know what mastery level assessments are, right? State testing, end of the week testing. I've been teaching all week. I give everybody the same quiz, and I expect mastery over what I taught this week, right? We want 100s. And that is not how an adaptive assessment works. So the students, whenever they take this assessment, they're going to get about half right and half wrong. They're going to see questions they know, and they're going to see questions they don't know. So it's going to start with a grade level question below level, right? So if I'm trying to think of my grade levels here. Gosh, I've got kindergarten all the way up to 6, 7, 8, right? So the question range difficulty is from K-12. So let's say I'm a 7th grader, okay? I'm a 7th grader. I'm going to start on a 6th grade question. Now, kindergarten, I've got a lot of kindergarten teachers on here. We do not go below kindergarten, right? That's where our standards start. However, if students are falling below that, they will get an emerging K placement. Okay, so I'm back to me being a seventh grader. I'm going to start on a sixth grade question. So this is content I know. I'm doing pretty good in that. I'm answering the questions correctly, so it climbs in difficulty. I get the next few questions correct. It climbs again, right? Look at that dramatic climb. Now I get to kind of a stuck point, right? I make an incorrect response, and then when that happens, it will adapt down, and that field will narrow smaller and smaller and smaller based on correct and incorrect responses to finally find the actual performance level in each domain, right? I kind of think about it like the hot cold game. When somebody hides something, then you have to do the hot cold to get close to it, right? You're getting warmer, you're cold. So, very, very, very similar. The domains in reading that they will be assessed are all of these. So take a look at these. Now, fourth grade. All right, so I've got some fourth grade and above teachers here. Your students are going to start on vocabulary, comprehension lit, and informational text. The test assumes that their foundations are set, okay? Now, we know that is not the case for all students. So if they start to run into trouble in vocabulary and start, struggling with multisyllabic words and they're not breaking it apart, able to read it, they will dip down and check their foundations. So when you all pull your reports up, when you're looking at your reading report, you may potentially see some grade level placements in these areas, and then you'll know that student had some assessments down in there. The assessment had to dip down to check those areas. Okay, and then all students will receive every domain in math. All right, any questions over that? Perfect. Let's take a look at a diagnostic. All right, so now we're going to look at a little bit of a reading, a little bit of a math one. You're going to see the intro videos. You're going to see what happens. What I want you to notice is both assessments starts with a kindergarten question. I want you to notice how it adapts and climbs and what happens when it does that. Now, the students aren't going to know what grade level the questions are. That is for our benefit of watching today. They will just see a question, okay? So give me feedback when we're finished watching this on what you noticed about the diagnostic. All right, is everybody ready? Good shape? For sure, everybody needs to hear, so I am checking on that a little bit. Okay, here we go.
Hi, my name is Vivi. I'm in the 6th grade, and like you, I had to take the diagnostic.
The results of the diagnostic decide what lessons you get. The diagnostic shows what you know and what you need to work on.
I remember the last diagnostic I took. It was hard.
The diagnostic will feel challenging. You may see questions you may not know how to answer because you haven't learned them.
There were some questions I knew, and some questions I didn't know. But I didn't give up. I did my best and moved on. When I finished, I got lessons that were right for me.
The diagnostic is not a typical test. Not all students will see the same questions. Every student should expect to get around half the questions correct. That's okay.
Some of my friends rushed and did not get lessons that were right for them. They wanted to know how I did it. Here are 5 things I shared with them. 1, I didn't give up. 2, some of the questions seemed tricky. I made sure to read the whole question. 3, some of the questions I didn't know the answer to. After thinking hard and working out the problem on a piece of paper, I took my best guess. 4, before I hit the done button, I checked my answer and made sure it was right. I changed a few of my answers that way. 5, I took my time. Once, I finished really fast, but then got put in lessons that worked right for me.
Warning, some students rush through and guess without reading the choices. If you do this, you may get lessons that are too easy for you and will be a waste of your time. You may then have to take it again.
You might want to give up or rush. Don't. If you try your best, you'll get lessons that are right for you.
You can do it. Put in your best effort and you'll be fine. Now, let's do this.
You must tap all the buttons before you can continue. Tap the speaker button to repeat a question or hear something read out loud. To answer. Then tap the done button. You must tap all the buttons before you can continue. Tap this button to open the base 10 blocks. To use the base 10 blocks, tap the plus or minus signs to add blocks or remove them. Tap here to undo the last thing you did. Tap here to start over. You must tap all the buttons before you can continue. Tap this button to open the counters for the 10 frame. To use the 10 frame, drag one counter at a time to the frame. Tap this arrow to undo your last move. Tap the trash can to start over. You must tap all the buttons before you can continue.
Add. Sophie has some big jars and some small jars. How many jars are small? Which picture shows a lamp that is taller than both children?
Nice. You finished this part. There's still more to go. But first, let's give your brain a roll.
You must tap all the buttons before you can continue. Tap the speaker button to repeat a question or hear something read out loud. To answer a question, tap the answer, then tap the done button. You must tap all the buttons before you can continue. There is the My Progress button at the bottom of your screen. Tap it to see your progress. If you exit the test and come back later, the progress bar will show where you left off. You must tap buttons before you can continue.
Which letter has the sound I? What does the word nest mean? The bird made a nest in the tree.
Nice. You finished this part. There's still more to go. But first, let's give your brain a roll.
All right, you get it, right? They get another game, okay? All right, thank you, Catherine, for already responding. I like how it has built-in brain breaks, especially for the younger ones, right? Right, because they start to get a little brain tired and they're like, "Whew, I need a break." Now, the reason why the breaks are there is because they get a little game, game break, brain break, and they're different. There's different ones after they complete each domain. Okay, so that tells you that students will be receiving games at different times. Well, bless their hearts, they'll look around and see somebody on a game and say, "Oh, so and so's on the game," and So it's great to communicate out that everybody will get the games, right? So it's for everyone, and to kind of watch out for them. What else? What else did you notice? So give me some feedback. What else did you notice? Okay. I really liked the slide. Okay, let me get my glasses. I really like the slide from the 6th grade student telling students how to take the diagnostic right. The video, I have some videos that will, you can show your students. Easy to navigate. Yeah, thank you, Brittany. Thank you, Christy. Stephanie, I like how the vocabulary questions use words in context. Yes, exactly. And then Shelly, the questions skipped grade levels, sometimes skip, well, on this one it did, right? But yours won't. It won't do a dramatic jump from like 1st to 4th. You know what I mean? It will, it'll do it. It won't do big time dramatic jumps like that, but it did for our viewing purposes today. Okay. Good. All right, wonderful. Okay, let's keep going. Yes, Cindy seemed very user-friendly. It sure is, right? So I'm going to show you those intro videos that you can show your students as well, right? That's part of preparing them, right? It's part of getting them ready to know what to expect, so it's not, this big surprise, all right? Now, I'll show you on the next slide your Arkansas windows to take the assessment, but let's take a look at how long should each diagnostic be taking. Now, you got the game and brain breaks. Sure, you get those, but that is not enough to really get good, clean data. So when we visited schools, when we looked at, just right data, it matched their performance levels, that we saw that giving students sessions was the key, okay? Letting them get in 20, 30, 40, or 50 minutes. You see how it changes per grade level, right? You see your grade level to the left, and then you see the length to the right. But each one of them are saying 2 to 3 sessions. So let them test in the morning, get them out, come back that afternoon, or come back the next day, right? So, just giving those true physical breaks really makes for better data. You really are going to see a lot better data. We've gone into schools before and we'll look at data and they'll communicate back that their students just sat down and took it all in one setting. Well, you can tell, that the majority of the data is just really, it kind of tanks, right? Okay. So for that, your windows for the diagnostic are right here. You're going to take one fall, winter, and spring, right? How will they log in? So you might want to write the dates down or take a picture. How will they log in? So it depends. If your district is a district that has auto provisioning, so a system like Clever or any other single sign-on system, the student will just sign into Clever, take their diagnostic, okay? If you do not have a single sign-on, then I'm going to show you today how to print your passwords very, very easily. Now, I've had this question this week, right? Taking diagnostics at home. So this is going to be a district decision, but I am going to show you resources at the end where we were earlier. It's called iReady Central, that gives guidance around assessing at home and proctoring that. So, that's the key. That's not the best setting that we want, because we really want to proctor that the child is doing the diagnostic, because you want to know just right instruction to give them. So there's a lot of guidance around how can we make sure to proctor it correctly to get that good data from students from home. Okay, but your district will give you a little bit more guidance on that. So for my K-1 folks, there is a readiness kit that's really great for young learners. It really sets up and models through even a family letter, and then introducing parts of the computer. How do I use the mouse, the touchpad? What about interacting with the buttons, answer choices, and then a little checklist at the end to see if they're ready for the diagnostic. Okay, so I'll show you that little kit as well. So before the diagnostic, we already talked about best practices. Some of the additional best practices that we've seen schools do are 4 top teacher actions. So getting organized was key. Paper, pencil for the math, headphones, computers charged, all of those things that you get ready before students take any kind of computer assessment, right? Either whether it's on a laptop or an iPad. Also, prepare and motivate. You see the teacher down below. He's showing a PowerPoint. There's a video you can show the students. We've got pledge sheets, bulletin board headers, just all kinds of little ideas to get them excited to do their best. And then proctoring, actively proctoring, walking around, seeing if someone's rushing or under their desk or wearing their headphones as a necklace, or, you've seen it. Is everybody active in the assessment? So walking around proctoring that helps eliminate some of those behaviors. And then we also have a status report where you can track that completion. Okay, so I'll show you that as well. All right, so let's watch this video on those top teacher actions from experienced educators. Here we go.
There are some years in your life that you'll never forget. We are in the midst of one of those years. You are teaching in a time unlike any other, and now, after an extended period of distance learning, you need to know where your students are and where they will need the most support more than ever before. Accurate data is critical to this work because it allows you to be strategic with your instruction, with the goal of putting every student back on the path to success. Regardless of where your students take the diagnostic, it's crucial to prepare and motivate them to do their best, to actively proctor, whether that's virtually or in person, and to track completion so you can review the data with students as soon as the assessment is complete.
iReady helps me make sure that what I have planned or what I need to plan is right on target. I want the results to be as accurate and valid as possible. I always say I want a true representation of your strengths, your weaknesses, and your growth, and then I can help create a path moving forward. Everything starts with getting good data. To ensure you get good data, follow these simple steps. This may seem obvious, but having a clear schedule and organizing your materials before the diagnostic is a critical step in ensuring success.
We encourage that our students have all the equipment they need to be academically successful on the diagnostic test, headphones and paper, pencil to work through the math problems, and time.
Nothing is more important than getting students to want to do their best during the diagnostic. I believe in intrinsically motivating them as much as possible. Before each diagnostic, we have a conversation as a class, because I think kids need a reason why. If you want them to do their best, they need a reason why. We talk about goals from the very beginning of the year, and then they own their goals. They create their goals. They're part of the process. You'll want to be walking around, scanning computers, and encouraging students as they take the test.
Proctoring the iReady exam does not mean tell the kids to log on and have a seat. Well, the first thing that teachers need to do to bring iReady to the place that it needs to be is be interactive during the testing process.
Use the diagnostic status report to confirm you have quality data with no rushing from all of your students.
we want to ensure that the data is matching the students' needs. Because we really want to get an accurate assessment for them, so then their work that they do after is meeting their needs.
When you see them take a test and you see the growth that they have had, and you tell them, you know what, you did this, and the sense of pride that you can see showing on their faces when they go and tell everybody, I grew this much, that's something great to take away for them and for us as teachers.
All right. All right, so let's look at the first report. All right, so the next couple slides, I'm going to show you some screenshots of some reports. All right, so this one just has healthier data to look at than our training side, right? So I know it may be small, but I just wanted to show you some alerts on here. And then the next one is a report that's coming soon to your site. Okay, so this is the diagnostic status report. So the goal here is to look at how are students progressing through the diagnostic, right? So all 20 of my students are in, 2 have not started, 8 are in progress, and 10 have completed. But I see some alerts. So of the 8 that are in progress, I've got a SAN timer here on a couple students. Justin and Lily have just a few days to complete their diagnostic. Now, while you can log in and log out of the diagnostic, right, there's the resume test feature. What you can't do is just take forever, right? So the test is only 21 days live. So they do have 21 days to complete the assessment. In that 21 days, if they don't get it complete, you have to reassign another assessment. So keep that in mind. So watch for the SAN timers. And then also some of your completed students, you may see rush flags. So if you didn't catch it while you were proctoring, it will show at the end if we had some rushers. So the red flag means, I always say red, reassess, right? I've always told my educators that because it really is invalid data. It's just not an accurate picture of what the child can do and what the child knows. They just happy clicked all the way through it. So during their free time, they'll have to retake the diagnostic. Now the yellow flag, this child rushed a little bit as well, but you need to look at the data. So if you think that's just about right placement for that child, use your professional judgment. You may want to leave it alone. But if it does seem way off compared with other data that you have for that child, you may just want to leave it alone. All right, so those are some considerations. Next is another report called a prerequisite support. So this prerequisite report for you is going to support your math core grade level instruction. So keep this in mind. You'll start in your core, but you want to preview this first because it's going to alert you to some students that may not do well while you're teaching whole group. All right, so first what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the top. I'll go to the top, I'll pick my class, pick my grade. In this area here, you will pick a topic. So for instance, this is place value, addition, and subtraction. Now, if you have one of our other products, then the drop down will show you unit and lessons, right? It will show you by unit and by lessons. Where you are in your core. Then it is going to point out down here below, based on these prerequisites under this topic, who is ready for core instruction, right? So look at these green check marks here. All green checks on the prereqs. So these students are good to go in the core, ready to go. Not the case for group B, C, and D. So they have some alerts over here. We've got additional support, in depth, we've got a couple green checks, but then we're seeing some other codes here. So these students are going to need an in-depth review over these two. This one's essential skill and this one's a prerequisite, in small group to help support what's going on in core instruction. All right, so under each group is a blue recommendation PDF. When you click on that PDF, it's going to populate, about 4 to 5 pages of recommendations on what you can do in that group, right? So it'll give you recommendations around whole group, small group, partner activities, some independent work that child can do. So all of that can be done, at the same time that you're teaching core. Like if you teach your core and then break into small groups, for instance, okay? Makes sense? I'll pause there for just a second. All right. Now, what if these students are mostly here? Okay. Then that may be a whole group issue, right? That might be a whole class issue. So if I need some support around prerequisites for the whole class, I will click this topic support PDF. When I click that, it's going to give me multi-pages as well. This is just the overview of the topic support. But what it does say is it's going to give you on-the-spot teaching tips as needed when teaching grade level lessons, right? You're going to use what you know about your students to determine the recommended prereqs to teach. The topic support document will help guide pacing through your program to determine when to teach some prior grade and to cover that prereq, and then consolidate your pacing elsewhere to keep it on track, right? So you want to keep your pacing on track, but yet times you may need to dip down, teach a little power lesson on some prior grade level skills, and then keep going in your core. All right, so you can be real strategic when working with this report here. Okay, any questions? All right, let's keep going. If you have any questions, that's fine. Just go ahead and unmute, or you can put it in the question box. So remember, this is an overview, just a little, commercials, intro about these. It's going to mean a lot more when we have your data and we can really start digging in, right, and making some plans. All right, so this is the standards report. So in the standards report, whenever you open it, you're going to see all the standards on the left-hand side. You're going to see the standards description, and then I'm going to see the amount of students here that have understanding, some understanding, or not any understanding of the skills that support this standard, right? So for each, right? So here's my total number in my class, and then it will sort it by 3 columns. Let's move on. If I click that standard, now it's going to show me the names of the students who got the green check, some check, or not at all check. If I click the child, now it's going to give me per child. It's going to list the standard. For instance, this Abby's a kindergarten. Count to 100 by 1s, 5s, and 10s. She has a highlighted check. She has some understanding of that skill. Count to 100 by 10s. Yep, she's got it. Okay. All right. So we are about 10 minutes out on our break. But you know what? That's okay. I haven't had many questions, so hey, we are rolling right along. So we'll take our break just a little early because this is what we're going to do. All right. So I don't want to jump in right now to the site and kind of while we're in it, then I take a break. Right. So let's navigate to the site. I'll give you your break, and then we'll come back and all join on the site together. So I'm going to leave you with the login. So you can do this during your break or after. But when you log in, we're going to look at some diagnostic reports. We're going to look at the class. We're going to look at the student. And then we're going to look at a grouping report for the reading, right? We looked at the one for the math. We're going to look at the one for the reading. And I want you to give me feedback on what you're seeing in these reports. Here's your login information. So look, I'm going to give you common errors so we make sure we all go to the correct spot. This is key, PD. So pd.i-ready.com, right? A lot of times I'll do over the shoulder. Educators will be on login.i-ready.com. And you can't reach this, you can't use this information on the login screen. You have to go to the PD site. All right, also, these are 00, not O's, okay, 00. And then also exclamation mark after the PD. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this available. If you want to log in during your break, kind of click around, you are more than welcome to. If you just want to take your break to relax, kick back and stretch, you do that too. Excuse me. When we come back, let's open this up. When we come back, we're all going to get in, and then we're going to stay in the site until we wrap up our training, okay? So enjoy your break, take your break, and then I'll see you back here in 8 minutes, okay?